Hey folks, welcome back. I'm Dr. Lon Schiffbauer, and today we are talking about the grand strategies. Now, we've talked about the generic strategies and the value discipline strategies, but the grand strategies, well, they're pretty grand, right? So let's jump right into it. There are four categories of grand strategies: stability, expansion, retrenchment, and combination strategy. And many of these grand strategies have sub-strategies. So let's delve into these. The first one we want to look at is the stability strategy. The stability strategy is really for companies that are just looking to maintain their position in the marketplace. They like things the way they are and they don't want to rock the boat. So they tend to play it safe, they're somewhat risk adverse, and they just want to maintain the status quo. Now, there are a couple of different ways that companies approach the stability strategy. The first one is to really focus on profits. So they're going to reduce costs, they're going to outsource non-core functions, increase sales, things of this nature. Another way that companies can approach the stability strategy is really just by playing it really safe. This is basically a wait and see strategy. The company isn't quite sure where the market is going or how they can leverage their competitive advantage to the greatest effect in the market. So they're going to kind of hit the pause button on determining a long-term strategy. So the caution strategy is a very short-term approach. Okay, the next one we want to look at is the expansion strategy. This is for companies seeking to grow and expand quickly and aggressively. The idea is to grow your brand, capitalize on economies of scale, grow market share, enter new markets, things like this. So they're going to acquire, they're going to merge, they're going to do these things really aggressively and quickly. Now, there are different ways of doing this. One is called the expansion strategy concentration. Increasing focus on a core competency, increasing the value proposition, and developing new customers with existing products or services. So the idea here is we're not changing our products or services. We are maintaining our very specific niche. We are just going to look for new customers in that niche. So if, for example, I am making cell phones, right? Okay, well, the cell phone is a lot more than a cell phone. I might try to market my cell phone as like the best camera you have ever seen, or as a video camera even. So lately I've been seeing ads for new cameras or new phones, I should say, new smartphones. And they don't say, hey, the voice quality is fantastic. They say the camera is awesome. So these are folks who are really looking to maintain their focus, concentration in the smartphone market, but they're looking for new customers by appealing to the camera function. Okay, let's continue on. The next one we have is diversification in the expansion strategy. For companies looking to reduce industry risk by dabbling in multiple industries and markets. Gains in one market can offset losses in another, allowing the company to weather downturns in individual markets. So an expansion strategy might be when a company says, hey, you know what? Okay, we make soda, but you know what goes really good with soda? We're going to make chips. And you know what goes well with chips is salsa. So we're going to expand in these different markets. And that way we can sort of see how that runs together. And if one market kind of drops off a little bit, another market might increase. And so it helps us reduce our risk. Okay, next one is diversification. Now, we have concentric diversification, adding new products to existing product lines to attract new customers, or conglomerate, adding new products that are completely unrelated to the existing product lines, right? So, for example, new product lines to attract new customers. We might have a company who says, hey, I make cell phones, right? But you know what? We could maybe make cases and so forth, and we could make accessories, and we could make, oh, I don't know, really cool tripods that go with these cameras so we can attract new customers. And when I say cameras, I mean the camera on the cell phone. On the other hand, conglomerate means, hey, we're going to go ahead and expand, but we're going to expand into markets that make no sense whatsoever. It's not that they make no sense whatsoever. It's just they're not really related to what you're selling or making right now. The idea is, let's say that your manufacturing capability is second to none. You have OpEx figured out, operational excellence. Well, then you can take that know-how and manufacture just about anything. And so you're leveraging your core competency of manufacturing, but you're manufacturing both washing machines and jet engines. So, yeah, they don't really have much to do with each other, but they both leverage your core competency. Okay, the next expansion strategy sub-strategy is integration. For companies looking to increase efficiency and produce economies of scale, or integrate functions along the supply chain to increase efficiency. So the idea here is, hey, you know what? We have all these parts that need to be brought together to make our product. Why don't we start manufacturing those parts as well? So we're expanding what we do, what we manufacture, but it's all with the idea of bringing things together to make our core product. In this way, they can leverage their economies of scale because they're bringing more and more things in and not having to invest a lot in the infrastructure. So it reduces the cost of each item produced. There's two ways that you can bring in integration in your expansion strategy. The first one is vertical, consolidating steps up and down the value chain. Okay, so if once again, if we're looking at, oh, let's look at this recorder for a moment. All right, we have the chip in there, we have the dials, we have the glass, we have this microphone here, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of parts that go into this recorder. Well, if we manufacture everything up and down those parts, that's vertical integration. Now, if we go backwards, we are getting closer to the point of manufacturing, meaning we're going to make the glass, we're going to make this microphone top, we are going to make the knobs, we're going to make all these items, getting further and further back, even to the point of raw materials. Forward to the customer means, you know what, we're going to make the packaging as well, and we are going to control distribution of this item and maybe even servicing of the item. So that is vertical integration. Now, we also have horizontal integration. Horizontal is consolidating operations at a specific point of the value chain, such as reducing internal redundancy or acquiring competitors. So this means we are just looking at one aspect of our manufacturing capability. So let's say it's an assembly. We're really good at assembly. So we are going to bring every aspect of assembly together and really focus on this so that our assembly processes are so cheap and so effective and so high quality that they're second to none. And we might even buy some competitors who do assembly so that we can bring in their core competencies. Okay. Next expansion strategy, I told you there were a lot of sub-strategies here, is cooperation. And there's even some sub-ways that you can do cooperation. One is through strategic alliances, where two companies get together and say, hey, you know what? There's a market need out there for this product. You have the technological know-how. I have the manufacturing capability. Why don't we get together, each bring our own special sauce to the table, and we can provide this to the market? Another one is a joint venture. This is when two companies actually get together and form a third company. So for instance, let's say that at both these companies are in need of NAND flash technology, NAND flash memory, and there's not enough flash memory in the market to meet their needs for their individual products. Well, these two companies might get together and create a third company that makes NAND flash memory. That's all they do. They make NAND flash memory. And who are their two biggest customers? The two companies that created that third separate company. And then, of course, you've got mergers and acquisitions. This is how companies like Google and Amazon and Facebook have grown so quickly and so aggressively, is just by merging and acquiring, mostly acquiring in these cases, other companies so that they can get their core competencies, they can get their technology, and they can also take them out of the marketplace if they're a competitor. Okay, let's go to the next one, retrenchment strategy. For companies seeking to restructure or even divest themselves of a business unit, the idea is to reduce costs and streamline operations to survive. Now, as you can imagine, this is not a strategy for a winning, aggressive, growing, awesome company. This is a strategy for companies that are kind of against the ropes and in dire straits, and they need to figure out how are they going to weather, how are they going to survive the current marketplace. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. One is turn around, restructure the company, but keep it intact. So this is when you might declare bankruptcy or you restructure how the work is done so that the company is still there, it's still intact, but we're going to try to become more efficient and more lean in how we do things. But you can also do divestment, which is selling off a business unit or a division that's no longer profitable or not part of the core organization. So earlier we talked about companies that are just acquiring when we're diversifying pretty aggressively. They're bringing in other companies and other core competencies. And yeah, we manufacture really well, so we can manufacture washing machines and jet engines and bring our OpEx capabilities to both products. Well, okay, this works and it's worked really well. Look at companies like GE, but now look at companies like GE who have said, we're going to divest ourselves of some of these operations and in fact divide the company into two or three. I forget which it was. And then the other one for retrenchment is just plain liquidation, baby. Right? This is divestment on steroids, viewing the entire entity as a total loss, a failure, obsolete, or otherwise beyond saving. So you basically just tear the company apart, sell off its individual assets, pay off the creditors and the investors that way, and just walk away from it because it didn't work, it's obsolete technology, what have you. Now, we also have combination strategy. This is the fourth of, I know it's hard to keep track because there's so many sub-strategies, but this is the fourth main grand strategy. This is a deliberate combination of all of the above. Now, be careful because it's really tempting for somebody to say, well, I'll just do it all. No. The vast majority of the time, it does not work like that, right? The combination strategy can be well suited for large, complex organizations with multiple business units in a variety of industries. So think of conglomerates, think of multinationals, right? Think of holding companies that, listen, we have a whole bunch of companies and a whole bunch of industries creating a whole bunch of products and services. So you're going to apply different strategic philosophies to different units depending on the need of the company, the need of the consumer, and the environment in which it operates. Okay, so there you go. You now have a competitive advantage because you have a deeper understanding of the grand strategies. All right. I know that was a lot to go over, so go back, check out what you need for whatever you're working on, and I hope it was helpful. And until we talk again, have a fantastic day.